Hey guys, Dave Walker here. I'm just gonna be showing a little bit of the new language that I created. Well, the new port that I created for my shadow language, which actually converts into JavaScript. So this is actually the compiling folder. I can create some files here and then have my compiler actually process them. So these are files which are in the shadow language. For example, we'll create an example file right now. And this is in the shadow language at the moment. And there's no semicolons of any kind, pretty much. So now I open up my program to do the thing with the files, and then I just compile it. And I can now save it in my test project folder. So it now, in this folder I actually have just a normal page, an empty page. There's nothing on this page really, except for a script main.js. That's all that the page has. And when let's just change this. When we actually open the page, it should now have that script that I created in the shadow language just then. So I'm gonna play around a little bit, just create a simple program. So there's a few things you should know. There's a couple of scopes in the shadow language. So there's a system scope, there's a global scope, and then there's a local scope, and they're all completely different. So I can put that as 1, 2, 3, and then I can use each one of these separately. And just add a system call here. Just to simplify this. And then we can log each one of these separate variables. Now if we do that and compile, we can actually see that it prints out all these different numbers. And of course, the source is just JavaScript without any variable names. Pretty much, if you want to have a more private project, you don't want people to see what you see when you're creating it, or have the same handles as you have in your program, it's really good to use the compiling system that I have. All the namespaces and all the comments are removed and just replaced by random numbers. So just gonna create a simple function. In JavaScript, usually you have to create a function using the function directive, but in my language, you just put in the name, the arguments, and then the instructions. And in JavaScript, you also use directives using normal keywords like if. If you try to set that directive to something, so if is equal to 2, it doesn't actually let you. But in my language, all the directives have a prefix, and they're under a custom scope basically. So then I can just do if is equal to 300, and then actually print the value of if. I can't really do that in JavaScript. And then let's just do that. Let's see, and let's log a plus b. let's use that program and compile that. And there we are. So this same example here obviously will not work with JavaScript. If I try to console.log, it doesn't work. It doesn't like it. So that's something that I actually, I don't like having directives in the normal namespace. I want to have a completely custom namespace, 100% custom. So anything that's JavaScript related is under this special system memory space supposedly, but it's not treated as a memory space. So if you look here, it just calls console.log. So it just accesses that JavaScript element. Oh, I should just do that. Let's see. What are some other things that I could do? I mean, there's really not that much. I guess I could just show a little bit more examples. Maybe create another file. So in JavaScript, if you create a new file, you have to include it manually, but I don't like that. Obviously, I have a directory and all the files are automatically added. So I might create something like test. And this isn't even hard to do, not even in JavaScript, to make your directory automatically be scanned and all that. And then let's say we add a global function, print name, and if we don't have arguments, then there's actually no need to include them. We can now call this global function from the global namespace, and it will actually capital. Hi, my name is Jack. There we go. So that's kind of the basics. I'm not going to get into it. There's obviously a lot more to the shadow language than this, and I have actually not added a few features which are very, very advanced, and I mean I could add them in the future, and I do plan to, but I just wanted to create the very base language with a lot of features, which, all the namespaces that it has, and complete JavaScript access. So in JavaScript you can create a structure saying a is equal to, oh, and by the way, all these are local to the function. In JavaScript, if you want something local to your function, you have to use let a, but in mine they're all automatically done, so you don't need to do that. Anyway, you might create a structure, x is equal to 2, y is equal to 7. Well, you can't do that in my language. I haven't added that, but instead you can use the JStruct directive, and you have to use it like this, with this kind of equals and not that kind of equals. And now if we actually log, you'll see that it's actually a JavaScript structure that's been created. As you can see right there. So this is the JavaScript style, but this is the style that I use in my language, and this is like the, I mean, I don't have native support for that, but you have the directive in case you need it, because you do need it. There's a few parts in JavaScript that actually require structures, like when you're creating a WebGL context, you need a JavaScript structure with specific properties in order to actually be able to kind of set it, to give specific variables to your context. So that's kind of where that comes in handy. That's it for this video. Just a small little example. Obviously we can check the source again. It's a little bit bigger now. Just random nonsense, really. There's obviously JavaScript keywords, onload, blah 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 blah, but that doesn't really matter. Mostly the idea is to, you know, pretty much take away your code's meaning, or basically the design behind it, and just put random like machine like instructions as close to that as possible, really. JavaScript doesn't let you do that, but you can still go pretty far, you know, removing all the comments, removing everything automatically without you needing to do anything. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and peace.